We're always told to push our limits, right? To find that next gear. But what happens when that final push is one push too many and your body just breaks? Today, we're going to talk about a serious condition that can turn a great workout into a flat-out medical emergency.
So let's unpack that question with a real-life story. It's a case that starts on a football field but ends in an ER. And trust me, it holds some huge lessons for anyone who likes to break a sweat.
Okay, so our story kicks off on what seems like a pretty normal day of intense athletic training, but things are about to go sideways fast. So picture this. It's the very first training session of the season. You've got all these athletes, they're amped up, pushing themselves to the absolute limit to impress the coaches. The energy is just electric. Now, let's layer on the weather. It's not just hot, we're talking 90 degrees with 85% humidity. You can practically feel it. The air is soupy and everyone's body is already working overtime just to not overheat. And then it happens. After a brutal set of 50-yard sprints, a 22-year-old player just collapses. He can't get up, he's weak, he's dizzy. For him, the workout is over, but a medical crisis is just getting started. All right, so now he's in the emergency room and the doctors are trying to figure out what's going on. They've got this young, super fit athlete who's in serious trouble. The first clues, well, they come directly from him. These are his actual words. He's also saying his muscles feel weirdly tender, almost doughy. And, this is way beyond just feeling sore after a tough workout. This is something else entirely. So the team immediately runs some tests to see what his blood work says. And the results come back with two massive red flags. First, his creatinine is high, which is a sign that his kidneys are really struggling. But then you see this second number, creatine kinase, or CK. It's an enzyme that's supposed to stay inside your muscle cells. A normal level is under 200. It's nearly 13,000. This isn't just a signal of muscle damage. It's a signal of a catastrophe. But the weirdest clue of all came from his urine. This is where things get really strange. The simple dipstick test is basically screaming that there's blood in his urine. But when the lab techs put it under a microscope, there's nothing, not a single red blood cell. It's a total paradox. So that's the million-dollar question for the doctors, right? How can the test be positive for blood if there literally are no blood cells? What else could be in his system that's tricking the test and turning his urine that dark color? Well, the answer is hiding in plain sight, right back in that crazy lab result we just saw. Let's just look at this number again. 12,976. The absolute upper limit of normal is around 200. This player's level is more than 60 times higher than that. This isn't just a sign of a hard workout. It's proof that his muscle cells are literally bursting open. Okay, so you've got the excruciating muscle pain, the sky-high CK level, and the weird urine paradox. All the puzzle pieces suddenly click into place. The diagnosis? It's a condition called rhabdomyolysis, or just rhabdo for short. To put it simply, his workout was so intense, especially since he wasn't in peak condition, that it caused his muscle cells to break down and die on a massive scale. And when those cells rupture, they spill all their toxic contents right into the blood. And this is the big aha moment that solves the whole mystery. That blood in his urine, it wasn't blood at all. It was a protein called myoglobin, which is normally locked away safely inside muscle tissue. Turns out the dipstick test isn't smart enough to tell the difference between myoglobin and the hemoglobin in red blood cells. So much myoglobin had leaked out that it was turning his urine dark. So we know what it is, but how exactly does this muscle meltdown turn into a life or death situation? The real danger isn't actually in the muscles themselves. It's about where all that cellular garbage ends up. Think of it like a chain of dominoes. It all starts with the extreme muscle injury. This makes the cells burst, leaking that toxic flood of myoglobin into the blood. All that gunk then goes straight to your kidneys, which are like your body's super advanced filtration system. But the kidneys just get overwhelmed. The myoglobin is like thick sludge, and it completely clogs up the delicate filters. This can lead to acute kidney injury and, if you're not lucky, complete kidney failure. Now, while this player's case was all about exercise, it's really important to know that rhabdo can be triggered by a whole bunch of things. Things like major trauma from a car crash or a crush injury or a big cause. So are some illicit drugs, but the one we're focusing on, exertional rhabdo, is something that any of us could face if we're not careful.
And that brings us to the most important part of all this. How do you prevent this from happening to you? Understanding the warning signs and the risks is absolutely everything when it comes to staying safe.
First things first, you have to know what's called the rhabdo triad. These are the 3 classic signs. We're not talking about your typical I feel the burn soreness. This is severe, can't move kind of pain. It comes with serious muscle weakness. And the biggest telltale sign of all is that dark tea-colored or cola-colored urine. If you ever see that after a workout, it is a medical emergency, period.
So who is most at risk? Well, just think back to our football player. He basically checked every single one of these boxes. He was working out in brutal heat and humidity. He himself said he was out of shape after the summer break. He jumped right into a super intense workout, and he was sweating like crazy, which means dehydration. It was quite literally a perfect storm.
The good news is, preventing this is actually pretty straightforward. It's all about being smart. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Give your body time to get used to the heat or a new workout. You have to progress slowly. Don't go from couch to CrossFit champion in one day. And the biggest one of all, listen to your body. You know the difference between good sore and bad pain. Don't ignore the bad pain.
And what happened to our football player? Well, thankfully, he got medical help right away. The main treatment is just flooding the body with IV fluids to flush all that gunk out of the kidneys and stop any permanent damage. As you can see, his CK levels dropped way down and he got to go home. A really good outcome for what could have been a disaster.
You know, this whole story leaves us with a really important question. Pushing our limits is how we get stronger. But there's a razor-thin line between challenging your body and breaking your body. And learning to recognize that line is what keeps a healthy passion from turning into a dangerous problem.